Hi guys, it's Marc Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Marc Zicree of Space Command, and I want to wish you a Merry Christmas! If you haven't checked out my little science fiction Christmas song on the Mr. Sci-Fi channel, please go immediately and listen to it. It's great! But, but I wanted to do a Mr. Sci-Fi piece about science fiction Christmas stories. And there aren't really that many of them. There's a few. There's a movie called Santa Claus versus the Martians, which I don't really recommend unless you're a huge Pia Zadora fan, and because she's in that movie as a kid. If you know who Pia Zadora is at this late date, there was a classic Arthur C. Clarke story called The Star that basically concerns an expedition that goes to a burnt-out planet and the remnants of an ancient civilization that was wiped out by a star-going supernova, and they calculate that that was the Star of Bethlehem. And it's a really wonderful story, but again, it's not going to get you in this warm Christmas mood that we all strive for. But I was thinking about Christmas stories, and although there aren't a lot of science fiction ones, Connie Willis did a collection of Christmas stories with sort of a science fiction bent a few years ago that I quite liked, but that really isn't exactly what's hit critical mass in the popular culture. But there are many Christmas stories that are fantasy stories, and of course fantasy is an allied genre to science fiction. And so if you think of It's a Wonderful Life, again, the fantasy element of an angel showing him what his life would have been if he hadn't been born, which is sort of a parallel universe story when you think about it, or Miracle on 34th Street, which is again positing, Santa Claus being put on trial in New York and having to prove his existence, or even a movie like Elf, where there's an elf, again, you might say a non-human or an otherly human creature encountering our society. So these have kind of that fantasy / science fiction feeling to them. Of course, the granddaddy of all of them, and I think the inspiration for all of them, is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And interestingly enough, Charles Dickens had been having some financial reverses at that point, and he wrote A Christmas Carol to get himself out of debt. It was very much a calculated commercial idea, a commercial move. He felt that story would be very popular, and of course it was, vastly, vastly so. And of course we've seen it in a million different versions. There's a great radio version with Lionel Barrymore, and then Orson Welles also did it on radio, playing Scrooge at one point, and there's the many, many, many TV and movie versions. My personal favorite is the Alastair Sim version, and if you've never seen that, run, don't walk, get it, watch it. It's a terrific movie. Alastair Sim is wonderful, and if you say, well, who the hell is Alastair Sim? I've never heard of him. If you saw the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol, the terrible animated one, Jim Carrey is doing Alastair Sim, and so he's sort of doing Alastair Sim without the soul or without the ability to perform, perhaps. I mean, Jim Carrey has his skills, but Alastair Sim's the real deal, so I highly recommend that you see that one. Of course, there have been many other actors who played Scrooge. George C. Scott, Patrick Stewart, not a bad Scrooge. I saw his one-man show, and then that was done as a TV movie, and Albert Finney in a musical called Scrooge, and even the Muppets got into the act, so with Michael Caine as Scrooge. So many different choices, but the main thing this Christmas is, pull out your favorite Christmas stories to read, to listen to watch, be with your loved ones. It's a wonderful time for all of us. Christmas is a wonderful holiday in which it's the one time where we're not encouraged to work, we're not encouraged to produce things like short stories or movies or any of the things we're supposed to do, or money. We are just supposed to be with the people who we love and who love us, and get present to what's important in life. So I highly recommend you all do that. Another thing, by the way, in terms of science fiction is, when I was a kid, you'd decorate a tree with Christmas ornaments, made of glass or whatever, and, now you can get Star Wars ornaments and Star Trek ornaments, and my alien, my H.R. Giger alien ornament. So it's, we can all follow our own science fiction predilections. So, including the Nautilus, that's one I'm going to be getting soon, Captain Nemo. And so that's about it for now. Mr. Sci-Fi, Marc Zicree. Check out the other Mr. Sci-Fi channel videos I've been doing. Check out the Space Command posts I've been making on spacecommandmovie.com and my Facebook page and all of that. It's been a wonderful year here in the Zicree household. We've made a movie. We're editing that now. We're ramping up to the second one. A year ago, my book with Guillermo del Toro came out. It's been a really good year, and I'm grateful to all of you for making it good. It's impossible to do this alone, and it's a wonderful world for all of us who love science fiction and who love being part of the human race. We're a very curious animal. but at our best moments, we have a lot to recommend us. So that's it for now. Post, share, like, do all the things you do. We'll talk to you again very soon, and Merry Christmas, and have a great holiday. Bye-bye.